I love technology, and one of the coolest things out today is the iPhone. But what makes the iPhone cool is that it's got a touchscreen capability that no other phone had previous to its inception. And this is good in more than one reason. For one reason, it slides in and out of the pocket very easily, and for another reason, they've abandoned the keyboard of a physical keyboard of a phone in the advent of touchscreen. So if you wanted to dial somebody, you just simply use the touchscreen and make your call. And also, power off the phone, power it back on, and this unlocks, and if you notice, that was a touch. And what's cool about the iPhone is that the way it works is beneath this plastic area, there's a motherboard with a CPU and also an EEPROM, which is basically some memory stored with software. And the software that drives this thing is basically based off of Apple's OS X, which is kind of neat because they've been doing that for a long time. But the way the touchscreen works is that in between the motherboard and the LCD screen that you see, the actual glass part, are some capacitors, basically an on-off capacitor. And it basically looks for a change in state in electricity when you touch. So this screen, if you touch it, there's a grid under here, capacitive material, that senses the touch. Because when the pressure hits that, what it does is it touches the first layer onto the second layer and conducts. So when it's conducted, it can sense where the touch is coming from. And another thing that makes the iPhone different than a lot of older touch technologies is that basically it's a multi-touch capability. And what that means is, in the old days of Palm OS, touchscreens, you could only go to one spot and it only recognized the one spot. But with the iPhone, what you can do is multi-touch. See, I touched in two spots. See, it could sense both areas at once. And also, I was showing you earlier, when you turn this on, it knows that this is the starting point of the touch and this is the ending point of the touch. And basically, that's all there is to multi-touch. There's a grid under here that is an XY coordinate. And so what it can do is, for each point along the grid, it can sense the pressure on this screen. And another cool thing about this screen is that it's got an oleophobic oil on it. So what that does is basically a coating that repels oil-based, like I guess you would say like sweat or other types of oil-based, to kind of prevent smudges on here. It doesn't work 100% effectively, but it does keep the smudges down to a minimum, and it's also easy to clean. So as far as the touchscreen capability on this phone, it drives the entire application pretty much. I'd say at least 90%. There's only 5 physical buttons on here. You have these 2 buttons that control volume. This one is the mute, on or off, that also controls volume. Then you have one here, which is for power. The last one is this menu start button. It's kind of like the Windows home button. So if you're in an application, say the web browser, and you want to go back to your main menu, you just simply hit that button and you go back to your main menu. So that's another interesting feature about the iPhone, is that it's almost completely driven by touch. And as you can see there, or if I move and scroll across my applications that I have installed, also if you want to use the camera, it's all touch based. See what I mean? So here's the camera. To take a picture, you even touch here. So touchscreen really drives the application features and functions of the iPhone.
Have the on-screen keyboard and phones that have a slide-out keyboard and numerous ways of inputting text. What is your preference as far as input?
I've had both types of phones, and personally I do prefer the touchscreen keyboard just because I think I can type faster and it just feels more smooth.
Do you think in the future with computers, tablet computers, input devices are changing in general as the traditional mouse keyboard way of inputting? Do you think that this touchpad, touchscreen device will be adapted into many more other technologies?
Absolutely. Touchscreen technology is taking over the whole world. Everything's touchscreen and it's coming on now.
Can you show us another application that used the capacitive touch?
Definitely. I will pull up the calculator right now. And it works just like any other calculator. Clear. Everything works well.
Great. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.